So I wanted to share with you guys what I've been doing lately and why I haven't really been active with making videos. There's a reason for that, and the short answer to that is it's just been a terrible summer for water detecting. Now I do land detecting, of course, as well, but primarily in the summer I do water detecting, and the reason for that is quite simple. The water, of course, in the summer is the warmest out of any other season in the year. And I try to maximize my time because, of course, I have pretty much the rest of the year, unless there's snow on the ground, to detect on land. So that's why I mostly detect the water in the summer. But as I said, it's been a terrible summer for that, and it's because we've had a lot of rain here in Pennsylvania, and the water levels have just been terrible. Literally, the last time I was able to do a successful hunt, I've been out in the water before then, but the water has just been too swift and has been too high to really be productive. The last time I've been out was the beginning of July, and now we're here in September. Um, and I don't know if I'm going to get out anymore the rest of the year, which kind of stinks. But I've just been busy, and that's the other side of the thing. Why I really haven't been active. I've been busy. I don't know if I've mentioned this in any other videos, but I'm getting married this October, and I'm getting busy with planning last-minute preparations with that. And also, I'm back in school. This is my second semester in school, and regarding the school part of it, it's kind of one of the focus of this video and kind of what I wanted to discuss going forward. So, as I said, the bad news is I might not be able to get out the rest of the summer, at least to detect in the water. I'll definitely get on land. I actually went for a short hunt recently um, at the same spot you guys have seen in the last video, and I found a musket ball.
So this is the musket ball, and it is also my first pre-modern bullet I've ever found. Now I had a little bit of doubt that this was a musket ball when I recovered it, because you notice it kind of isn't perfectly round, and what really is the dead giveaway to that is this little piece right here. If you can see that, it's kind of looks like it was almost like it hit, maybe it hit something or it was clipped off. The latter possibility is probably more likely. If it did hit something, it probably would have been more dramatic. Now, I'm not like 100% certain this is a musket ball, but I'm probably with 95% certainty that it is. I've had it looked by a couple of different people, and they both said that it is a musket ball. I know with 100% certainty that it is lead because it is heavy. But the reason why it's probably clipped off, like it looks like it's clipped off at the top, is because that's exactly what happened to it. It was clipped off. And I'm going to put a little link in the description below to show you how these musket balls were made. But essentially, they would pour the molten lead into a mold, in this little mold kind of device, and then they would kind of like clip off the excess on the top. It's kind of difficult to explain, so that's why I included the video for reference. So I'm thinking that is just kind of a residue from when the musket ball was made, when it was clipped off.
So I'm studying information technology in school right now, and what I hope to do with that is eventually maybe work in the healthcare field, or something within security, or a merger of the two. But one of the classes I'm taking right now is pretty interesting, and it's all about database design and management of data and organization of data is actually what the class is called. Um, and it's pretty heavy with terminology, so hopefully the class will get easier as the semester progresses. But that's kind of the point of the video. Basically, you may not know kind of what data is. A lot of people misinterpret data as being information, but actually, it's not information at all. It's basically it's a raw fact, but information can be derived from it. So that's kind of where the distinction between the two is. So you have your data. A lot of times people think of data as numbers, which is perfectly correct. It can be data or it can be text. And you piece all this data together, reference it in certain ways in layman's terms. It's a lot more complex than that, but I'm explaining it to you in layman's terms because it can be pretty technical. Uh, but yeah, in layman's terms, you piece together this data, manipulate it how you want, and you can derive some information that you request, and that request is called a query, which is essentially just pretty much a question. Um, and after you have this information, enough information, you can derive knowledge from it, which the old saying goes, knowledge is power. So I'm going to give you an example to show why knowledge is very powerful and why data is so important. So on the left I have an old map, and on the right I have pretty much the exact same map, but it's modernized. And this is an area, and I'm not going to name where, because this is an area I metal detect. But if you really wanted to put two and two together, it'd be pretty easy to figure out where this is. But if you're following the code of ethics, I recommend you don't do it, of course. But anyhow, the knowledge I gathered from doing a little bit of research earlier this year is, you see this little thing on the right where it's following my cursor? It's right where this little bullseye is plotted. This was actually part of the Pennsylvania Canal. And in the area I metal detect, of course, it's not there anymore. And I always wondered why, after discovering that this existed, why there wasn't remnants of it. And that's where all these little plot points come in. So essentially what I did is I used a program called Maprika. It's a free download. You can download online, and I believe there's a mobile app as well. But essentially, I downloaded this program and cross-referenced these points on the old map with the new to kind of get a better accurate picture of where these old points are on this old map in relation to the new. So in other words, let's see here. So I determined, let's say, point 29 is on the map right about here, next to what is a highway here. Now it's not exactly there, but it's pretty darn close. And I discovered the reason why I could not find remnants of this canal is because this highway system, if you notice, looks pretty close to the trajectory of this canal. And that's because the highway was directly built over this canal. So you can see, spend a little bit of time with this, manipulating the data to provide this information to gain the knowledge can be pretty powerful. And I'm going to be using this a lot in the future to kind of pinpoint, if you will, where I can find, where I can focus my hunts in the future. And so my hope with all this is to put all this data together into a database and organize it in a way that makes sense, it's logical, and and then in the future I have all these sites that maybe I'll organize it by some that I've hunted already and some that I didn't. I think it's just gonna, the organization of it and the design of it is gonna kind of come as I go, as I gather the data. And this is something, this isn't my idea. I'm sure other people have kind of made a rough sketch of this already, in kind of organizing their sites. But yeah, I plan on organizing it according to maybe counties, different counties, different towns. The age of the site. I just discovered a site today that it was built in 1795. that I've yet to even contact the landowner, and it's another site that's a ticking time bomb because it's another site like the one I already have permission on, that's owned by a real estate developer. So it's hard to tell when they're going to really start doing construction. Um, but at any rate, my hope is in the future to organize all this data together in a database, and then let's say I want to access some information about a certain site based on a certain question or a query that I have, and I can access it readily and easily based on all the enormous amount of data that I hope to have eventually. And it's going to be interesting. I think it'll provide some very useful knowledge in the end, and I'll begin to see some end results. Like maybe I'll begin to see a pattern, for instance, of maybe where I tend to be able to find. I haven't found any yet, but maybe where I can find most Civil War artifacts maybe are in, like I live in Cumberland County. Let's say, for instance, there's more Civil War artifacts in Cumberland County as opposed to York County. And then you might be able to question, I don't know if that's true or not, and then you might be able to question, it'll answer or raise new questions such as maybe why that is, and you can delve into that and discover new knowledge. So I think it'll be pretty interesting, and like I said, that's a project that's going to be ongoing. But I'm pretty excited about starting it. And I also meeting some new people who are new to the hobby. I've actually detected with a buddy of mine I just recently met. And it's tough because I'm busy most of the year, at least up until October, the end of October because of my wedding. So I want to try and get out as much as I can. And there's just never enough time. Never enough time. It's always an ongoing battle. But that's where I've been, and that's what I'm working on. So I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts about it. Maybe you already have a database, or if you have any suggestions as to different parameters that I could add to the database, meaning different categories or filters, if you will, that I could add to it. I'd be interested to hear your input. So hopefully we'll see you soon, whether by land or by sea. And until next time, like and subscribe if you can. Appreciate it. Thank you.